This week, the market took two punches: a broken ceasefire in the Middle East and a Fed that's openly split on rates. And by Friday, it was right back at the highs. That's not luck, that's the tape telling you something. We're reading it through all three charts that matter: the QQQ, SPY, and SMH. Plus, the biggest foreign IPO in Wall Street history was just released to markets, SK Hynix. In this episode, we'll take a look at the exact levels going into next week. Stick around till the end to find out. This week was a very interesting week. On Monday, we had records everywhere, with the Dow's first close above 53,000 and the S&P at 7537. And by Tuesday, the US-Iran ceasefire was broken down and traffic through the Strait of Hormuz slowed. Oil also jumped 5 to 6%, and chips got hit hard as money ran to safety. Then by Wednesday, the Fed minutes dropped, and this genuinely divided Fed officials and really showed that they are not on the same side. Then Thursday and Friday, we really shrugged all of those issues off, and jobless claims hit a 6-week low. Dip buyers showed up, and the chip names continued to rise. Stick around to the end of the video as we revisit the trade idea of the week and we see how Tesla has been holding up to close the week. Now let's take a look at the charts. Taking a look at the SPY, the proxy for the S&P 500, we initially can notice that price is now above all of the moving averages once again, so bulls are clearly in control. The most important moving average that bulls are above is the 8 EMA that we can see, and really the week ended at nearly an equal high towards the June 15th high. We are in striking distance of the all-time high at 760, with the week closing at 754.95. Price really did bounce nicely on Wednesday from the 20 EMA, and overall the S&P held strong once again, with the trend continuing higher as the 50 EMA remains the line in the sand and bulls are able to hold and stay in control. Now let's take a look at the main levels on the S&P. Taking a look at the main levels on the S&P, what we really did want to see as we close this week out was a reclaim of the 749 level, and really we are in striking distance of all-time high. In my opinion, the 760 all-time high is temporary, and we will see price test 759 this upcoming week. You may reject, but ultimately move higher. The markets overall are not responding to the Iran conflict and no longer really seem to care, honestly. The only thing that seems to be able to bring this market down may be a nuke at this point. Little Donny Boy remains bullish on markets, as we can see how much he has invested and how many trades he really did over the past year. Now let's take a look at the S&P with the MACD and RSI. First, we can notice that RSI this week has crossed bullish, so bulls are in control and momentum is in the upward direction. RSI overall is currently at 59, so there's still plenty of room until we get to the oversold levels, so there's a lot of gas left in the tank. And really, just looking at this overall price action and structure, it's starting to look like this is a bull flag, to be honest with you. And as price continues to coil within this bull flag, eventually we're going to pop out and break out to the upside. And really, my price target on the S&P for this year is going to be moving towards the 800 level. Let's call it 775, 780, and then I'll be looking to short this market. Now let's take a look at the QQQ. We initially noticed that we ended the week above all moving averages once again, and price has been able to close above the 8 and 20 EMA. Those are the two key levels that we do want to see while we're deciding if this market will go higher. You do have highs and lower highs that are in place, but this is in jeopardy going into next week if price can push higher than 740 and make a new low and continue. I think overall the best thing that we saw this week was on Wednesday when markets did a clear technical bounce off the 50 EMA. This has posed as the line in the sand for markets, and the tech sector continues to move higher. As long as we're above the 50 EMA, and even better, if we're above the 8 and 20, this market will continue to grind higher, and this 748 all-time high will only be temporary, as I do see the QQQ getting to 760 and above. Now let's take a look with the main levels that we're looking out for in this upcoming week. Overall, since about the end of April, we've been range bound on the QQQ between 699, call it 700, and 745. 725 is for sure the point of confluence and the line in the sand where it'll either be a bullish pivot or a bearish fall. But as long as we're above 725, the 748 all-time high is within target and within reach. All EMAs are sloping upwards, so I do expect this upcoming week for an all-time high retest on the QQQ. Taking a look at the QQQ with the RSI and MACD present, unlike the SPY, we can see that the MACD is yet to cross bullish, and this will be the first time we are in the bullish divergence since early June. So momentum is honestly rising, and momentum is about to flip to the bullish side. I think our biggest tell that markets were going to move higher was the Wednesday bounce off the 50 EMA. But once we get this bullish cross on the MACD, I expect the all-time high to be retested and ultimately broken. We'll see going into next week, but my prediction is QQQ is going to get back above 750, and once we get around the 760 to 765 level, I'll be looking to go short this market, as exhaustion will have come across many names, and a lot of the Mag 7 is actually not as high as people would think. Now let's take a look at the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. Your first initial observation that we see is very similar to the QQQ. During this week, we had a beautiful technical bounce off of the 50 EMA, and we were able to close the week right at the 20 EMA, but above the 8. So bulls are still in control, and the move continues higher. Now let's take a look at the main levels that we want to see reclaimed or where we could be rejected. And 612, right where we ended the week, right around there, is the point of contention. Going into this upcoming week, we do need to reclaim this confidently, come back, retest it, then move higher, and the all-time high or this level of 649 will be in play, and the bulls can continue to step on the gas. Until 648 is reclaimed and tested, any close below 648 will ultimately be a lower high, and the trend can remain in the downward direction if we don't get over 648. Taking a look at the SMH with the MACD and RSI included, we can see that RSI is currently at 51, so we're right at the midpoint, and the MACD is trying to get into a position for a bullish cross, but we're just not quite there yet. This could be coming in the upcoming week. With SK Hynix being released today, we did see a lot of semiconductors begin to move higher, and memory names move higher as well. SNDK and MU ended the week higher, and we're looking like the AI trade is far from over. Now let's take a look at the trade idea of the week and revisit to see how it's been going. On Wednesday, we did mention that Tesla was really starting to coil up here, and we were starting to see higher lows being put in place. And lo and behold, 409 is the battleground level, and that is right where we ended the week off. Almost dead center in the middle of this pennant that has been forming. We still believe that this pennant will ultimately be broken, and the price target of 449 will be hit, which this is the previous swing high point. 500 is still on the table for this year, and we are in the camp that it will be tested.